Right, so I'm talking about the next release of mySQM Plus, which is version 133. I've got the controller config file on the left here, and in the right screen over here I've got the existing version, which is 132, and I'll just go through some of the changes at the moment. Okay, so the first noticeable thing is that the access point, things related to access point grouped first, then things related to the station mode is grouped second, then the servers, and then everything else. So that's one of the big changes, and associated with this is it says also edit this, edit this, edit this, edit this, etc. So we'll just go and have a look at those files now. Wrong window. This is the window we want. So let's have a look at the old one first. So, right, so here's the old one. It has access point defines like this. Yeah, nothing. And it also had a station mode defines. See that? Those two files. And on occasions you needed to go and edit those. Well, here's the new version, and you see that access point files is gone. It's not there anymore. You've still got station defines. It used to be called station mode defines, and now just calling it a station. And when I zip into here, oh sorry, that's the new one. I'll put them side by side. Here's the old one, and this window, the new one. So yeah, you've still got the set information as per normal. And this used to be a sort of dual purpose thing in terms of depending upon access point or station mode, this set and password could be shared. And the dynamic IP, that's been moved into controller config, and then we had the static information, etc. So what does the new one look like? Well, for station mode, it's this here. All of these details in here only apply to station mode. They don't apply to access point mode. And also the static station address only applies to station mode here. So that's the station defined. So we now move on to go back here. Okay, so access point mode defines is gone, and we just got that one there, and we've got a new one called soft AP defines. This is essentially the same as the access point defines that we had in the previous version. Let me just drag it over there. Okay, so you've still got the network configuration, and you've got the network set and password which apply to an access point, and so they're now grouped together under soft AP. Oh, there is one other thing that's changed. Let me just go in here, and I'll pull up the configuration file again. Oh, yes, I've got it loaded here. Okay, so let me just scroll down. All the ESP now code, that's all completely changed, been ripped to bits. And we've got one called web query. And let's just have a look at the old version. You had a thing called JSON support. So here it is. This is what you had before. I've now called it web query. So JSON support, this new web query does exactly the same thing as JSON support. And so we do have, if I pull up the equivalent file here, which will be in the defines folder, it'll be web query defines. So you can see that it's essentially the same, but it's added a port number as well in case you're running a server on a different port other than 80. But the major difference between these two is the fact that whereas JSON support occupies at least 13+% of program space, web query is down to about like 0.4 or 0.3. So it does exactly the same function, but takes up significantly less code. So that's a plus. Web query, by the way, operates in an async manner, meaning that the sending and receiving is handled separately. And JSON support, the problem with that was you needed a timeout value because of the fact that it's not asynchronous, and when you send, you have to sit there and wait for a reply. And if you get no reply, then you're in trouble. So web query, all this code that I write runs as a state machine now, so we can handle requests and responses in a much better way without having the computer lock up a bit. While I'm scrolling down, I want to get down to rain bucket, and notice now here we've got another option for a rain bucket, thanks to Graham, which is the RG11. So that's been added to rain bucket as well. I've got both versions running side by side. Let me just options, device name, and I'll just change this to 133, so I know which version I'm running on. So we've got 133 over here and we've got 132 over there. So looking at the servers page, TCP/IP servers hasn't changed, web servers hasn't changed, but I have introduced some subtitles so we get better sort of groupings involved. ESP now, which was on the bottom, remote MAC is now called receive from MAC, and we've removed the JSON support there and put it here underneath web query. So that's that there. GP hasn't changed. I don't think options was changed from memory. Not much anyway. Oh, the other thing you note here, notice this, it says controller reboot. That's gone down into a button here, which allows us to move the spacer up a bit. Right, so you had publish, all these groupings here. I've separated it out into three things. There are settings, there are publish things, there are subscribe things, and there are authorization. Okay, and we've added a enable publish to the MQTT, meaning that if you want to temporarily stop the publishing of something, you can, without actually stopping the service completely. And the reason why you might not want to stop the service completely, you still want it running, but you just want to turn off publish for a moment, is because you may also be using subscribe. And if you stop the service, you can't use subscribe or publish. So that change has been added. And I don't think that much else has changed. We did add a subtitle colour, and that allows us to do these groupings here that you see with underground, file list, elegant format. You notice they didn't have colours here in version 132, so it makes the page a wee bit more readable.